Okay, so you know that box, right? The shoe box, maybe an old album.
Or just that stack of Polaroids, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of curled up, tucked away somewhere.
Exactly, and they're just sitting there. They're loaded with history, those forgotten moments, faces you maybe haven't seen in years.
Yeah, memories you feel like you could almost lose. But let's face it, time is not friendly to physical photos.
No, it really isn't. They fade, they stick together, they get dusty. Dust bunnies aren't exactly a professional archival solution.
Yeah, they really aren't.
Yeah.
And there's a real feeling of loss, I think, when you see those tangible links to your past starting to, well, degrade. It feels like the memories themselves are fading a bit.
It absolutely does. So when we came across this article, it was recently updated, 2024, 2025, and it dove deep into exactly this challenge. Well, we knew we had to unpack it.
Right. This piece looked at, what, 20 different mobile scanning apps for both iOS and Android.
Yep, specifically designed to tackle this problem. And they filtered them down, focusing on the apps with like 4-star ratings or higher from thousands of users.
Yeah.
So the popular, well-regarded ones.
And what's really interesting, I think, is how these apps have, evolved. The article makes it super clear they aren't just taking a picture of a picture anymore.
No.
The top ones have built-in smarts to fix common headaches,
Yeah.
like glare, automatically straightening crooked shots, cropping perfectly.
Handling backup, even restoring faded colors. It's like having little digital restoration labs right there on your phone.
Exactly.
And that really sets up our mission for this deep dive. We're going to walk you through the top recommended apps highlighted in this article.
And share those essential practical tips it offers for getting the absolute best quality scans.
Yeah, we want to cut through the options, give you a clear path, maybe just a starting point, to preserving your own photo history. Honestly, finding tools this accessible to save those precious memories, it feels genuinely exciting.
It really does. So let's dive into what the article considers the top contenders. They break them down by their specific strengths, which is really helpful, I find. Helps you figure out where to start.
Okay, let's unpack this list then. Kicking things off, the article gives quite a bit of attention to Google PhotoScan.
Mm-hmm. This one scores pretty high consistently. The article cited 4.8 out of 5 on iOS and 4.1 on Android.
And its big selling point, its kind of tagline, is being best for glare-free captures in seconds. Now that's huge, especially if you're dealing with stacks of glossy Polaroids. Glare is the enemy.
It really is. And the way it tackles that is, well, it's clever. The article explains this 4-point capture flow.
Okay.
You actually move your phone over 4 specific points the app shows you on the photo itself. And then the app stitches all that information together using AI, and that's how it makes reflections and glare basically disappear.
Yeah.
It also uses AI for, smart straightening and auto-cropping.
That's smart. And for backup, does it handle that? Okay.
Yeah, the article notes it's super smooth, tight handoff to Google Photos. So your scans land right in your Google Photos library, automatically backed up, and searchable too, if there's any text it picks up.
Very convenient. Okay. Moving on then, the article also highlights Microsoft Lens.
Right, now this one sounds like a powerful all-rounder. It scores an impressive 4.8 out of 5 on both platforms, iOS and Android.
Wow, both. And the article calls it the best free do-everything scanner.
Yeah, and it backs it up with some serious user numbers. That 4.8 rating is from like 133,000 users. Plus, it had a pretty significant update mentioned, April 2025, so it's being actively improved.
So what makes it a do-everything scanner?
Well, it's got a helpful batch mode for tackling multiple photos, which is great. And critically, it includes OCR optical character recognition.
Wait, OCR on photos? You mean like if my grandma wrote a little caption on the back of the print, the app could actually read that handwritten note?
Precisely. That handwritten text becomes searchable metadata once it's digitized. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
The article also points out it has this simple one-tap export to OneDrive or Word, which it says is gold for scrapbookers or anyone wanting to easily integrate those scanned images and captions into other digital projects.
That is incredibly useful. Okay, next app on the list from the article, Photomyne Photo Scan.
Yes. This one earns its praise by being labeled the fastest whole album digitizer. It holds solid scores too, 4.7 on iOS and 4.3 on Android.
Fastest whole album digitizer. How does it speed things up so much? That sounds like a big claim.
Well, this is where its AI really shines, according to the source. You can actually lay out up to 5 photos at once on a table.
5 photos?
Yeah, take just one shot with the Photomyne app, and its AI automatically identifies, crops, and saves each individual photo separately.
Whoa.
It's a huge time saver if you're dealing with whole albums. The article also mentions it features strong color restoration capabilities, so it can fix fading or even colorize black and white photos.
Polarized black and really?
Yep. And apparently that's impressed the 76,000 users who gave it glowing reviews that the article mentioned.
Wow, scanning 5 at once would make a serious dent in an old album. Okay, so the article then shifts a bit, right, to a couple of apps that are specifically for iOS users.
That's right. First up in that category, PhotoScanner. Scan old albums.
Okay, iOS only. It has a strong 4.6 rating, and the article tags it as offering one-time purchase, pro-grade restoration.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one-time purchase, that definitely catches the eye. That's kind of rare these days, so no ongoing subscription fees for this one.
That's exactly what the article highlights pay once, unlimited scans. It seems to be built with maybe more advanced users in mind.
Yeah.
It features precise edge detection, dedicated filters specifically for color revival,
Okay.
and the ability to edit metadata right there in the app. The article even suggests it's a favorite among archival professionals for its capabilities.
Metadata, meaning adding things like dates, locations, names directly into the digital files information.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Embedding all that crucial context.
Got it. And the last app the article highlights, also iOS only, is PicScanner Gold.
Yep, PicScanner Gold. This one scores 4.2 on iOS and is called Best from Metadata and Offline Projects.
Offline projects. Interesting.
Yeah, like Photomyne, it also offers scanning multiple prints at once. But its real focus seems to be that metadata and flexibility. The article points out its excellent tools for adding dates, places, captions, all that context.
Okay.
And uniquely, it offers export options for lossless TIFFs.
TIFFs, that's a high-quality format, right?
Exactly. The article notes this is perfect if you want to create museum-quality files without cloud storage. If you prefer to keep your high-resolution copies strictly on your own hard drive or local backup.
Ah, okay. So it really caters to people who want maybe ultimate quality control and perhaps privacy by avoiding cloud services altogether.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that covers the main apps the article recommends, each one with a pretty distinct focus.
It does. It gives you real options depending on what's most important for your specific scanning project. But the article doesn't just stop there, which is great. It also gives some really practical, actionable tips to make sure that no matter which app you end up picking, you get the clearest, sharpest, most faithful digital copy possible.
Yeah, because even the smartest app can't fix everything if the original photo isn't set up correctly, right? This feels like the fundamental stuff.
Totally. So the first tip is all about light. Light it right.
Mm-hmm. And the recommendation is pretty specific. Shoot near a window using indirect daylight.
Indirect daylight.
Yeah. And whatever you do, avoid overhead lights like ceiling bulbs.
Okay, why is that? Why avoid the overheads?
Well, the reason is simple but crucial, according to the article. Those overhead lights. They're notorious for creating harsh hotspots and glare, especially on glossy photos.
Ah, makes sense.
Indirect daylight is just softer, more even, and it minimizes those nasty reflections.
Right, don't fight the light, use the good light.
Well,
Okay, what's the next essential piece of advice the article offered?
clean before you click. It sounds almost too obvious, but it's apparently often overlooked.
Okay, meaning just wipe the photo.
Use a clean microfiber cloth, ideally. Gently wipe both your phone's camera lens and the surface of the physical print before you scan it. Both things.
Okay. And the big why there. Why bother?
To save yourself hours, potentially, of painful digital retouching later. Trying to remove tiny dust specks or smudges manually from hundreds of photos is it's a nightmare.
Ugh, yeah. No, thank you. Cleanliness is preventative magic. I like that.
Exactly.
Okay. The third tip is something I hadn't really thought of. Sounds like a clever hack. Black background hack.
Yeah, this one is specifically recommended for smaller prints, like Polaroids. The tip is to lay them down on a piece of matte black paper before you scan them.
Matte black paper. Why black? What does that actually do?
So the apps use edge detection, right, to find and crop the photos automatically. When a small, often kind of irregularly shaped Polaroid is placed on a really contrasting matte black surface, the app's AI can detect those edges much more quickly and crop the image much cleaner. That's what the article says. It just gives the app a really clear boundary to work with.
That is a neat trick. Definitely filing that one away. Okay, the fourth tip deals with the long-term safety of your new digital files. Back up twice.
Yes, the advice here is firm. Save your scans to the cloud and to an external hard drive or, some kind of local storage. Don't rely on just one location.
Okay, cloud, A&D, local. And the reason behind this, the article brings up something fascinating I would never have considered.
It's a bit niche, but important. Vintage prints, especially older ones, can actually shed microscopic emulsion dust over time.
Emulsion dust.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. So if you scan a photo today, save only one copy, and then maybe 50 years from now you try to rescan that same physical print because your digital copy was lost.
What?
Well, that print might have shed dust, and that dust could land in different spots than the first time you scanned it,
Oh, wow.
meaning it could potentially show up as new specks on the new scan. Having two backups created relatively close together ensures you have a consistent version of the digital image. It safeguards against the physical original's slow degradation, potentially impacting future scan attempts.
Wow, emulsion dust. That's
Yeah.
a level of detail I wasn't expecting, but it makes perfect sense when you think about preserving the exact image as captured at that point in time. Okay. Finally, the fifth tip is about making those digital photos useful and meaningful. Add context now.
Right. This is about using those metadata or caption tools we talked about earlier with some of the apps. Write down the date, the location, the names of people, maybe a little anecdote you remember about the photo.
And the why. Why do it right away?
While the memories are fresh, don't scan, 100 photos over a weekend and then 3 months later try to remember who was who or when that trip was.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Exactly. Do it as you go or right after, while the details are still clear in your mind. Future you, or maybe your family down the line, will thank you immensely for it.
That's such good advice. So, okay, we've covered some fantastic tool options and these really practical techniques all highlighted in the article, but let's just connect this directly back to you, the listener. Why does diving into this article and these ideas actually matter for you?
Well, because these apps and tips provide a really clear, accessible, and honestly effective path to future-proofing your own family photos, your precious memories. That shoebox or that stack of albums, it doesn't have to be a source of quiet anxiety about fading history anymore.
Right. You have the tools now, right, on your phone to actually do something about it.
Mm.
And the article makes, I thought, a really beautiful point. Digitizing these photos doesn't mean you lose the original physical object or its charm. You still have the print with its texture, its maybe slightly yellowed border, its weight in your hand.
Exactly. But by creating a high-quality digital scan, you ensure the image itself is preserved forever, safe from light, humidity, tears, or, coffee spills.
Yeah. Think about that stack of photos you have waiting. The article really suggests picking an app based on your specific needs and your workflow.
Right. Maybe you have tons of albums, so the speed of that multi-scanning is key for you. Or maybe you're dealing with severely faded prints, and you really need the best restoration tools you can get.
Or maybe organizing everything with detailed notes is your absolute top priority. The key takeaway from the article isn't just picking the single best app in a vacuum.
No.
It's picking the best app for you and your collection.
Exactly. And ultimately, according to the article, the most important step is just to get started.
Yeah. Just begin. Pick a handful of photos tonight. Maybe try out an app that feels like the right fit based on what we discussed. And just start giving those memories a digital life. It feels really good, actually, to rescue them from the effects of time.
It absolutely does. It's quite satisfying.
So, to recap, we've explored several highly rated apps based on this comprehensive article. Google PhotoScan, Microsoft Lens, Photomyne, plus those iOS-specific ones, PhotoScanner, Scan Old Albums, and PicScanner Gold, each with unique strengths.
And we've armed you with those essential tips for getting crystal clear, high-quality scans, using that soft indirect light, cleaning your lens and prints.
That clever black background trick for Polaroids, the critical importance of backing up your scans in two places and adding all that crucial context right away while it's fresh.
All drawn directly from the insights and recommendations within the source material, giving you, hopefully, the core knowledge to feel confident and ready to tackle your own photo archive.
And as the article points out, digitizing doesn't erase the original charm, it simply future-proofs the image, which it leaves us with a really interesting thought to maybe ponder.
Oh.
As we create these perfect, unfading, digitally restored duplicates, what is the essential role or charm of the physical photo itself moving forward? What part of that feeling, that memory connection, is tied not just to the image captured, but to the actual object?
That's interesting. You mean like the feel of the paper, the worn edges, maybe even the slightly faded colors that the digital version aims to fix.
Exactly. Is some of the charm tied to those very imperfections, the physicality of it?
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? About the relationship between memory, the image, and the physical artifact. The digital copy ensures the visual story endures, for sure. But the original object, yeah, it holds a different, maybe deeper layer of connection.
Absolutely. Just something to consider as you perhaps embark on giving your own beloved Polaroids and prints their second digital life.